Berhad and AirAsia Berhad because we all agree these both companies are among the big companies in Malaysia and become the people's choice. Financial choice is important to help assess the financial health of a company by analyzing its financial statement. It is used to monitor a company performance over time and will help to identify trends and make adjustments to a business strategy. Forecasting also important to companies because it will help to set goals and plan ahead. Next, forecasting is needed in business budget and it helps to turn information to meaningful insight for make a detailed budget. Next, I will explain about the background of the Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad had been incorporated since 1992 and becoming the first Asian airport operator to go public in 1999. Today, this airports managing 5 international airports, 17 domestic and 17 small ports. Malaysia Airports Academy or MAA is a training provider for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad. The role is to provide a learning platform in ensuring all employees are competent, skillful and knowledgeable to customers. Since inception of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad, they have received a lot of awards thanks to their world-class services. Some of them are International Business Review Asian Awards and Company of the Year in Aviation and Airport Management. Next, I will explain the background of AirAsia Berhad. In 2001, Tony Fernandez and Kamari Camerano bought 2 aircraft with 200 staff and now it became the 4th largest aircraft in Asia with 200 aircraft and 21,000 staff. The new AirAsia Aviation Limited will control 4 of the AirAsia Group's airlines, including AirAsia Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. AirAsia also provides a super app to help customers. These apps offer more than 15 lines of products and services. AirAsia Academy is one-stop tech, innovation and leadership academy aimed at supercharging the digital economy within the Asian group. The recent achievement of AirAsia Berhad are the world's leading low-cost airline 2022 and the world's leading low-cost airline cabin crew 2022. That's all from me and I will pass to the next presenter.
Hello, my name is Nur Halimatun Fariza binti Wahab. My number is H2128249. I want to show about ratio and trend analysis for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad.
This is trend analysis for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad. For liquidity ratios in 2020 is higher ratio than 2021. For activity ratios, the higher ratios in 2020 is average collection period 2171 days and inventory turnover 29689.69. While in 2021 the higher ratio is total asset turnover 0.05, account receivable turnover 0.22 and fixed asset turnover is 15.09. Next, debt ratios. All of debt ratios found improvement from 2020 to 2021. Okay, after that, all of profitability ratios for Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad in 2020 is lower than 2021, except gross profit margin is higher ratio than 2020.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Fikri bin Haji Hussein. My metric number is H2182858. I would like to talk about the liquidity ratio of the AirAsia Berhad from year 2020 to 2021. In year 2020, AirAsia Berhad current ratio is 1.16 and 2021 is 7.54. It is lower ratio than 2021. Next, quick ratio in 2020 is 1.16 and 2021 is 7.54. For the next working capital was increased from RM 76,058 to RM 1,454,641 in 2021. Next, for activity ratio for total asset turnover in year 2020 is 0.16 and 2021 is 0.09. For receivable turnover in 2020 is 181.89 and 2021 is 22.95. Next, for average collection period in 2020 is 1.98 and 2021 is 15.09. For inventory turnover in 2020 and 2021 has a same total is 0, and for the fixed asset turnover was the same is 0 in 2020 and 2021. Next, Air Asia Berhad debt in 2020 is 1.18 and 2021 is 1.32. For debt to equity has the same value 0.3% in 2020 and 2021. And for the time interest earn ratio in 2020 is negative 16.47 and 2021 is negative 24.49. Next, profitability ratio in 2020 return on equity is 155% and 2021 is 58%. Next, return on asset in 2020 is 30% and 2021 is 90%. Then no gross profit margin for Air Asia in 2020 and 2021. Next, for operating profit margin in 2020 is negative 1.70 and 2021 is negative 1.95, and for next profit margin in 2020 is lower than 2021 from negative 1.80 to negative 2.03.
I am Nur Shamim binti Hazari and my metric number is H21A2916. I will start our comparative with liquidity ratio of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad and Air Asia Berhad in year 2020. First, current ratio for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 15.00, while Air Asia Berhad is 1.16. It means Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is higher than Air Asia Berhad. Next, for quick ratio of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 15.00 and Air Asia Berhad is 1.16. It shows the quick ratio for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad higher than Air Asia Berhad. For net working capital of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 2,557,436, more higher than Air Asia Berhad, which is 260,058 only. The total asset turnover shows the Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 0.042, lower than 0.16 of Air Asia Berhad. After that, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad account receivable turnover 0.17 is lower than Air Asia Berhad, which is 181.89. Besides that, the average collection period for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad more higher than Air Asia Berhad, which is 20,270.96 and 1.98. Next, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 29,689.69, while Air Asia Berhad does not have inventory turnover. Last but not least, for activity ratios, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 7.48, while Air Asia Berhad does not have fixed asset turnover. Next, we go to debt ratio. Debt ratio shows Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is lower than Air Asia Berhad, which is 0.33 for Malaysia Airports and 1.18 for Air Asia. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad time interest and ratio for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is more higher than Air Asia Berhad with value 0.37 and negative 16.47. Furthermore, the ratio of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 0.38, lower than Air Asia Berhad, which is 1.32. 1.32. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad has 36% debt to equity ratio higher than Air Asia Berhad 0.03%. Of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 1.56, higher compared to Air Asia Berhad is negative 24.49. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad lower than Air Asia Berhad, which is 2% and 90%. Then, time interest earned in return on assets. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad also has 27% gross profit margin compared to Air Asia Berhad do not have it. Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad has 0.37 operating profit margin value, higher than Air Asia Berhad, which is negative 1.95. Lastly, net profit margin of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 0.37 and it higher compared to Air Asia Berhad, which is negative 2.03. Next, we go to comparison analysis of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad and Air Asia Berhad in year 2021. We will start with liquidity ratios. Current ratio for Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 1.83, is lower than Air Asia Berhad, with the value 0.50 and 0.6 for Air Asia Berhad. It shows that Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad lower than Air Asia Berhad. Besides that, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad 0.22 is lower than Air Asia Berhad 22.95 in account receivable turnover. Average collection period of Malaysia Airports Berhad 1665.34 is higher than Air Asia Berhad, which is 15.69. Then, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad and Air Asia Berhad do not have inventory turnover. Lastly, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad has 15.09 fixed assets turnover value compared to Air Asia Berhad do not have value. Last but not least, for profitability ratios of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad and Air Asia Berhad, return on equity of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 0.7%, while 165% for Air Asia Berhad. It shows that Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is lower than Air Asia Berhad. Return on assets shows that Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is lower than Air Asia Berhad with value 0.5% and 30%. Next, Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad has 35% gross profit margin, while Air Asia Berhad do not have it. Operating profit margin of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad has higher value with 0.13 than Air Asia Berhad, negative 1.70. After that, net profit margin of Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is 0.12, while Air Asia Berhad is negative 1.80. That means Malaysia Airports Holding Berhad is higher than Air Asia Berhad.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Muhammad Najib Fitri bin Ramli and my dormitory is H21A2889. Okay, my part is overall analysis. As you can see the table, in 2020 for Malaysia Airport Berhad, liquidity ratio show as increase while Air Asia Berhad show a pattern of decrease. For the activity ratio of Malaysia Berhad show that it is a decrease pattern compared to Air Asia Berhad that is increase. As for the Malaysian Airport Berhad, leverage ratio is increasing and Air Asia is decreasing. Finally, for profitability in 2020, Malaysia Airport Berhad show a decrease while Air Asia is increasing. In the years of 2021, for both these companies showing no change or the same data result. For Malaysia Airport Berhad show a pattern of decrease while Air Asia Berhad show a pattern of increase for these four items. So we can conclude that the change in this ratio suggests that Malaysia Airport Berhad is more vulnerable to the impact of future economic downturns, while Air Asia Berhad is more resilient. Alright, for the second thing is a way in which both companies can perform better financially in the future. For Malaysia Airport Berhad is for can increase by focusing on non-economical revenue stream, expanding its airport network, and investing in new infrastructure to improve its airport and attract more passengers. Okay, for AirAsia Berhad is only should focus on cutting, expand its road network, and investing in new technology to improve efficient and customer service.
Last part is conclusion. According to this comparison, Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad Company, like which has a better financial structure than AirAsia Berhad. The research claimed that Malaysia Airport Holding Berhad has good financial standing, the ability to influence change in investment related variables, and the ability to document strong corporate performance. Last but not least, company with reliable financial system and focus will be able to compete with other well-developed companies and expand over time. As a result, the profit ratio, gross sale or gross profit margin may all be used to assess the financial soundness of a firm.